We've been asked to restore this Boulle cabinet, and as you can see, it's in quite a sorry state. And for those who don't know, Boulle is a mixture of tortoiseshell and brass, and it's inlaid in a particular way. As you can see here, time has taken its toll, and some of the brass has come out, some of it's missing. Unfortunately, we've got a little bit of the brass left, as you can see there. But there are areas that we're going to have to attend to make some new brass for it. Boulle is a very interesting method of applying a veneer. I'll just go over to this, and you can see here there's a contrast between tortoiseshell, which is laid on top of a pigment, and brass. Now, originally, what would have happened is they would have had a sheet of this coloured tortoiseshell and pigment, and then there would be a sheet of brass, and the two would be laid one on top of the other, and then the pattern scribed onto the brass, and with a very fine piercing saw, somebody would cut through. They would cut right through both layers of the veneer. And then when it had all been done, what would happen then is you would take it apart and you'd have a negative and a positive area, and you'd reassemble it a bit like a jigsaw. This is a close-up of the damage. These are the little pieces that we have remaining. But you can see here, somebody's had a go at replacing this. And generally people use the glue like araldite, and this has got a load of araldite on it, which actually won't stick at all. This will have to be cleaned off thoroughly, and also when metal gets older, it gets to be a little bit brittle. That means it's kind of springy, so we'll have to anneal this little piece here so that it'll lay flat. There will be some areas that we're going to have to make some new little pieces of brass to inlay, and also some of this tortoiseshell inlay. But you can see here at the rear of the there are two layers to this. One is the pigment. You can see that sort of reddy colour, and then laid over the top is tortoiseshell, and it's only very, very thin, the tortoiseshell, and you can actually see here the pigment of the tortoiseshell showing through. You'll see here, this is an ebony veneer, and it's relatively thick, and you can see these strips here are brass, and they're inlaid, and you can see some of the old glue here. It's animal glue, but it's crazed a little bit, and this surface here is cast brass, and it's been gilded. In a lot of the older pieces, this was fire gilt. Fire gilt is where gold is amalgamated with mercury, and then it is painted onto the brass, and then the brass is heated up, driving the mercury off, and then you're left with the gold in place. But in a few of these areas, you can see some of the original gold is still there. Someone has used some metal polish on this, and this is quite normal, and the gold has been removed. As you can see here again, the brass has been cast off the glue. Again, this is the animal glue that has been laid on with, but it's also been kinked. And once it's kinked, the metal gets very hard. So even if you were to put some glue on that surface again and cleaned it all off, you wouldn't be able to get the brass to lay flat. So again, where this has got this little bit of a kink in here, we're going to have to anneal the brass, which is going to soften it. We also need to take off a lot of this glue and clean all of that up. You can also see we will also need to clean some of these surfaces here, but we need to do it with discretion, because if it's too clean, it's going to lose its age. It's taken quite a long time for it to get like it has, so we just need to tidy the thing up. You can see also in a lot of these areas, someone has been attacking it with some brasso, which is also, as I said before, quite normal. As you can see here, some of that finish will need repairing. I'll just draw your attention to this area here. You can see it's crazed, so I'll have to attend to that as well. These are just a little bit of a closer view of the brass castings, just to give you an idea. As you can see here, some of the tortoiseshell is missing. Just to show you the construction of the drawer, it has mahogany veneer on that surface there, and it's veneered on European oak. You can see here this is quarter sawn, but because it hasn't got a counterbalance veneer, it will warp a little bit, and you'll see there how that's warped. The drawer's been repaired sometime in the past, and again araldite has been used on this, so that's going to have to go. There's quite a nice writing slide there, isn't that rather nice there? This is ebony veneer. Nice little fitting. These are the little drawers, and in contrast to the main drawer, you can actually see that this has a counter veneer. You can see there's one veneer there, and that is mahogany, and there's a counter veneer on the bottom, which is mahogany. But that looks to me as though it's European oak, core material. The cabinet has its original key, as you can see there. It's rather nice. And that's the interior. Again, it's lined with mahogany veneer. This is boxwood. It has boxwood veneer there, not brass.